Hi, and welcome to another episode of Cliff on Climbing on Cliffs. Today, we are going to look at one of the most important tasks in technical roped climbing, the belay. For those of you who are exclusively into bouldering or free soloing, feel free to skip ahead to the episode on broken ankles and ground pizza. The rest of us, let's get started. To belay means to secure something or someone with a running rope, that is, with a variable length of cord. To belay a climber simply means to adjust the amount of rope to which the climber is attached and to arrest a fall to keep the climber safe. The belayer gives out or takes up slacks, so there isn't too much rope and the climber doesn't fall too far.
How does a belay work? A belay keeps the climber from falling by keeping the rope from feeding out. The belayer can hold the climber's weight using mechanical advantage, primarily in the form of friction. Mountaineers run the rope around things that will provide friction as the rope bends around an object or two. That object can be a tree, the belayer's waist, a boot and ice axe. Most modern rock climbers use a belay device. Some devices capture and control the rope and attach to the belayer's harness using a carabiner. The beaner simply attaches the device to the belayer, but does not actually contribute to the friction on the rope. The gree-gree is one such device. Most devices apply friction to the rope in combination with the attachment beaner. The beaner actually provides friction directly to the rope in addition to the belay device's friction. The two work in tandem to bend the rope around friction points along the path. The friction provided enables the belayer to keep the rope from feeding out with relatively little effort. A few pounds with one hand can suspend a climber weighing a couple hundred pounds. Some devices have designs that assist the belayer by pinching or locking down on the rope under tension. The devices pinch down against the beaner, or they have internal cams that pinch the rope, requiring the belayer to use even less force with the brake hand to keep the rope from sliding through.
For the most part, belay technique is the same. You use the same technique for almost any belay setup, with the exception of the munter hitch. For technique purposes, we can treat the belay device as a black box. First, your brake hand is what keeps the rope from sliding through your belay device and the rest of the system when the climber falls. The rope goes through the belay device, with one strand going to the climber and the other coming out for the belayer to hold. This is the brake strand. The brake hand never leaves the brake strand of the rope, ready to catch the climber the instant he falls without warning. In most cases, except for the munter hitch, covered in another episode, to activate the brake and hold the climber, the belayer pulls down the brake strand, making a tight bend on the rope through the belay device. This applies friction and mechanical advantage to keep the rope from sliding through. To give out slack, the belayer simply eases up on the brake angle, bringing the rope closer to parallel with the climber's strand of the rope. To take up slack, the belayer needs to do the same thing, bringing the rope more parallel to the climber's rope so that the rope flows freely through the belay device. If you crank down into the braking position, the rope won't want to slide in either direction, tighter or looser. Like the brake on a car, when the brake is applied, the car can't move forward or in reverse.
Climb on. Now, anytime you have the climber either top rope or lead above you, you generally want the brake hand down and the rope going to the climber up. So excess rope down below on the ground, climber's rope up. That's pretty simple. Anytime the climber is above you, top rope or lead. Generally a good practice to treat your brake hand as prisoner to the rope. Your free hand is free. Do whatever you want with it. Rope management, scratch yourself, pick your nose, whatever. So always keep the prisoners inside the free people. The free folks are always on the outside. Prisoners are always on the inside. That's a good practice. You keep your brake hand inside your free hand. Now gyms really love the P-bus. You pull, brake, under, slide. I really like that to be in a brake position as often as possible. However, If you're climbing super fast like Dana, P-bus has this added, breaking down. And if she's climbing fast, sometimes it's just pull, grab, and keep hauling it in. Well, one might ask, well, if you're sliding down before braking, what happens if she falls when your hand's out here? Well, I would ask, what happens if she falls when you're pulling up? Same thing. You just bring your brake hand down. Wherever it is in the motion, you bring it down and you brake it. So it doesn't matter if it's here or when you're pulling, it comes down if she falls. Pretty simple stuff. So P-bus is slow and cumbersome. It's great for the gym, and that's how you want to do your belay test. But if you've got a fast climber, sometimes you don't want to leave too much slack in the rope by dropping, going under, and pulling. It's just all one smooth motion to pull in.
Okay, so we got a good knot. Both belay points for hard points. Harness is double back. Lug loops are strapped up, and we're locked, loaded correctly in the belay device.
A quick word about belay calls. What I'm going to present here are the standard orthodox climbing commands. When we all climb with our friends, and we've been climbing with them for a while, we tend to adopt more informal modes of communication, and this works out just fine in the gym or on single pitch climbs. But when you're out on a multi-pitch climb out in the wild, knowing the standardized communication practices could mean the difference between safety and peril.
The climber and belayer need to communicate to be safe. Belay calls are simple, one- or two-word commands designed to be clear in the mountains. When the climber and belayer are separated over a large distance, or have rock features between them, it's hard to hear each other. Hey man, you got me? Oh, I'm all good and safe at this tree so you don't have to worry about the belay anymore. No. I'm good, you're good, might work in the gym when you're standing 10 inches apart, but that crap doesn't work in the wild. Hence the standardized belay commands.
I need to point out that sometimes taking shortcuts can have disadvantages. One time, I literally had my partner just look at my belay device, look at his knot, say, I'm good, you're good, turn around and start climbing. He was not on belay because I was trying to untangle a mess at the base where I was not going to be able to give him out rope because it was too tangled. And he was already climbing, and I had to scream over the din of his earbuds to get him back down and tell him, no, you're not on belay yet. Do not assume you're on belay until I tell you you're on belay. So that's why I make a point about the old shortcuts. We can't take too many shortcuts. We must communicate. It is a two-way street.
On belay. The climber asks the belayer to put him on belay.
On belay?
Once the belayer has the belay in situ, ready to catch a fall, the belayer replies,
Belay's on.
This is not, you're on belay or something similar. Note how the climber command begins with the preposition. The belayer's call ends with the preposition. When the climber is ready to begin climbing, he simply says,
Climbing?
to which the belayer replies,
Climb on.
now the climber can begin climbing.
Sweet, thank you.
Look, I'm not trying to be super picky here. I'm simply starting off with the standard old school belay calls. You need to start off from a given standard and then we deviate from there. So once you've been climbing with somebody a while, we don't go on belay on all the time. Sometimes we use shortcuts or slightly different verbiage. On belay, belay's on. Climbing, climb away, whatever it may be. The point being is that I just want to present the basic standard because when communication gets difficult, such as in the mountains, we end up reverting to that standard. Plain and simple.
When the climber has finished climbing and does not need to be secured by the belayer anymore, the climber says, "Off belay." Notice the preposition comes first. The word belay follows. This disambiguates the belay calls between the climber and the belayer. The belayer now replies, "Belay off."
Thanks, Stu. Off belay.
You got it, Cliff. Lay off.
This means the belayer is no longer responsible for the climber's safety. Belay off. It simply means the belayer is no longer holding the brake strand of the rope and is no longer willing or prepared to catch a fall. It does not mean the belay device is disconnected and the rope is free. Belay off. So many belayers wait until they've 1. Taken their hand off the brake, 2. Unclipped their belay beaner, and 3. Pulled the rope out of the belay device before replying, "Belay off." In reality, the belay is off once the belayer takes his or her hand off the brake strand. This is important. On a multi-pitch climb, the leader gets to the top of a pitch and anchors in, calling, "Off belay." The belayer replies, "Belay off," and no longer has the climber secured via the rope. Too often the leader then starts pulling up the rope. No! Belay off means the belayer is not providing for your safety, but it does not mean he's ready for you to yank up the rope. Belay off means the belayer has taken his hand off the brake. He is now in the process of disconnecting the rope and belay device, but that takes time. Don't yank up the rope until the belayer is finished getting the rope free from the belay device. How will you know when this time comes? Because the belayer will call up rope. Up rope is the command you give your partner to pull up the slack in the rope. If you're climbing and there's too much slack in the rope, you tell your belayer to take up the slack by saying up rope. If you're the belayer, at the base of a pitch your leader has just completed, and you need the leader to pull up the rest of the rope so you can climb up to join him, you call up rope. Once that rope pulls snug onto a climber, that climber calls out, "That's me." "That's me" tells the person pulling the rope that the resistance he's feeling is the other climber, not rope drag or a snag along the way. A climber can also say, "That's me" when he's putting his weight onto the rope, either when weighting the anchor or sitting onto the rope because he's unable to continue climbing. Most climbers these days simply say, "Take." Slack. If you want the belayer to give you slack, simply call out slack. Easy. If you need the belayer to take some or all of your weight onto the rope, you can call for some tension. Nowadays, most climbers simply say take, as in take the rope or take my weight. Falling. If the climber is about to fall, or in the act of falling, she can alert the belayer by calling out, "Falling!" Again, many climbers will cry out, "Take!" in anticipation of a fall or in the fall itself.
That's all for today. That's a lot to take in. Tune in next time for Belaying 102, where we'll cover even more tips and techniques to refine your belaying and keep your partner safe. Thanks.